Shabbos.
Okay, now you're on. Now you're on. It's Shmuel Elawat's birthday. Today's shir is being sponsored Lili Nishmas Yael Bas Gershon by Yaakov Toch, who's here first time, I believe. He watches us online. He has twins. Second time. He watches us every day from Gimel. He has twins. He promises that when they grow up, 10, 15 years from now, he'll be full time. Today's shir is being sponsored by our good friend, Lauren Spiegelman. And this is what it says. I received numerous emails, maybe 5 or 6 text messages, and each one, last night I was bawling like a baby after each one of these. In honor of being Messiahim, a Masechta for the first time in too long to mention. All right, somebody just put this up. Can't read it. And for giving me a fantastic start to my day with a wonderful chevra of old and new friends.
Yeah.
All right, I know I'm not gonna. It's emotional for me. What should I say? People in their 40s making a scene for the very first time or in a very long time. It's amazing. All right. Do we have time for an email? One email. This is a short one. Thank you, Mazel Tov, on behalf of the 6 a.m. Daf Yomi at Rabbi Eichenstein in Baltimore. You were quoted many times since the start of Masechtas Brachas. We look forward to continuing hearing from you in Masechtas Shabbos and all of Shas. Hey. If you could give a special shout out to the Rosh Chabura, Moshe Hefter, it would be greatly appreciated. He's your number one fan after me, of course. Erev Shabbos pre-game for Masechtas Shabbos, L'chaim. Here he is with his Belvini 14. Happens to be my father-in-law's favorite. This is a big machlokes, a little sweet, a little this. Okay, fine. Here it is with the pre-game. All right, we'll leave the other ones for later, even though they have to do with today's daf. Rabbi Isai, it's very exciting times. We're starting a brand new Masechta. I have a mashal. Most of us are married, besides the few kids. We all remember we were dating, we're engaged. It was a lot of fun. Everybody's on their best behavior. Getting to know each other. And then we got married. And then life starts. It's real life. Most of us have children. We bore some children. Be'ezer Hashem. The Medrash tells us that Sunday is the Ben Zug of Monday, the partners. Tuesday with Wednesday, Thursday with Friday. Shabbos says, who's my partner? Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boi Kal Malkasa, Klal Yisrael is your partner. So I say, Brachas was a lot of fun and games. We're engaged. It was a lot of fun. We had stories every day. Tonight is the chasana. Big siyum. We're going to the chasana. And now we have to be serious, Rabbi Isai. We're in Shana Rishona. Rabbi Tzvika wants to say something. Birastik li lo'ilom, yeah? Oh, exactly. As we go onto our journey, Shana Rishona, we should be rastically loyal. We should always feel that geschmack that we had in brachas. It was actually a matana. Because Baruch Hu gives us a present. We start off Shas with the geschmack. 60-something days of every day with stories, etc. But you have to understand that we're going to get married, and all of a sudden you don't understand her so well. Maybe she gets a little annoying. The boy said, don't get divorced. Don't get separated. Stick it out. We're going to have children together. This Torah, the mitzvahs.
157 days.
Thank you, Yaakov. 157 days. It's a Chatzi Shana Rishona. It's going to be an amazing journey. And just Derech Agav, the Mishnah Berurah gives a Hagdama in the beginning of the Mishnah Berurah, and he gives one more Hagdama before Hilchas Shabbos. Hilchas Shabbos is the essence of Yiddishkeit. When, especially in America, you say, this guy is a Shomer Shabbos. That's how we define a Jew, Shomer Shabbos. And when you learn Gemara and you learn the halacha, that's the neshama of Shabbos. So that's basically what we're doing. We're going to be learning Hilchas Shabbos. And one of the ideas that Avi had, and I like the idea and I want to implement it, hopefully if we can, is to insert and make a kvios to learn Hilchas Shabbos every day. Halacha l'maisa. A minute or two, maybe from the daf, what we learned from the daf. We'll see if we have time. All right, and with that, let's jump into it. Not at expensive emails. No, emails comes in the beginning, that never. Baruch. Oh, he drank my water. Okay.
You drank your water.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nהיה b'dvaroi.
Drank your water.
Nobody. That was his. He took mine. It's Seder.
From your water.
I'm sharing with you, Yaakov. I share with you. All right, Zok the Gemara. So it goes like this. There are 39 Melachos. 11 of them we just had in brachas. 11 of them have to do with baking bread. To get the bread, you have to do 11 Melachos. 13 of them have to do with creating a garment. You have 9 that have to do with writing. 3 that have to do with making a kli. 2 that have to do with building. And 1 that has to do with haitzah, with carrying from one domain to another domain. And that's how the Masechta starts off with. It happens to be that it's the last Melacha out of the 39 Melachas in the Mishnah on Daf Ayin Gimel, which enumerates all the Melachas. It's the last one, and the Mishnah starts with that one. The Masechta starts with that one. We'll go into it a little bit more. So, before we jump into the Mishnah, we have to know that there are 4 domains. 2 are Midoraisa, a Rishus HaRabim and a Rishus HaYachid. Rishus HaYachid is a private domain that's 4 Tvachim by 10. You have mechitzas that are 10 amas all around. And a Rishus HaRabim is a thoroughfare, a public thoroughfare. It has to be 16 amas wide. A lot of people move through. Whether the 600,000 people that go through it every day, machlokes, but Rishus HaRabim. Midoraisa, you're not allowed to move something from a Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. That's what it says in the Torah. You're not allowed to go from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. That's called a Yitziyah. Haitzah, from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim. The Gemara says it's obvious that the opposite is true as well. From Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid, that's called Hachnasa, bringing into your private domain. Moshe Rabbeinu was in a public domain, and Klal Yisrael was bringing presents to him. They were bringing gifts from the private domain to the Rishus HaRabim. Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Stop! On Shabbos, no more." So the Torah describes from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, but obviously Rishus HaRabim and Rishus HaYachid is also a Deiraisa. The other 2 are the Rabbanon, Carmelis, which is not a Rishus HaRabim. We're going to go into that. And a Makom Ptur, a place that it's okay. You can put in a really small hole in the ground in the middle of Rishus HaRabim. You could go from here to there. And another issue that we're not going to be describing today and talking about is walking in Rishus HaRabim, 4 amas, because your Makom, person's surrounding is his Makom, he has 4 amas. You go out of that, it's also Asur Midoraisa. Carrying, of course. You're allowed to walk in Rishus HaRabim. Carrying. What's very interesting is that even though it's one Melacha, there's a lot that's discussed in Masechta Shabbos about Yitziyah. There's actually 3 prakim later on that talk about it. The first parak is really talking about Hachana for Shabbos, preparation for Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. Because we're going to be discussing about putting a pin in your garment, and that's carrying. So the Mishnah starts off with that. The other thing we need to know is just the concept called Akira and Hanacha, which is to lift something up, to uproot something, and to put it down and place it down. Zot Eilig in Mishnah. Yitzios HaShabbos. So Rashi right away jumps in and tells us the end of the sugya. That Yitzios means going from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, and vice versa, from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. Even though that's called a Hachnasa, we're going to describe it as a Yitziyah also. Shtayim Shehein Arba. The Mishnah is going to describe what that means. 2 Melachos D'Oraisa, which are in fact 4 total, because 2 of them are the Rabbanon, Midoraisa will be mutter, but if you do them, they are also. Ushtayim shein arba bachut. So bifnim means to a person standing inside the Rishus HaYachid. It's not referring to the Rishus HaYachid, it's referring to the person standing in Rishus HaYachid. Ushtayim shein arba bachut. And there are 2 melachas, a person standing outside of Rishus HaRabim in the public domain. He has 2 isurim d'oraisa, which could also be 4, counted as 4. 2 of them are only asur midrabanan. Now, if we want, we could jump into Taisus real quickly, because it gives us a little bit of an overview of what's going on here in the Mishnah, and why does the Masechta start with this Melacha that's a single Melacha. It's all the way at the end of the Mishnah, Ayin Gimel. So if you jump to the middle of Taisus, smack in the middle, V'teretz. Got it? V'teretz, the first Taisus, I don't know, 15 lines down. The reason why the Gemara started, the Mishnah started with Haitzah, there's a few concepts, and we should be familiar with these concepts. So first of all, when the Mishnah describes, instead of saying the person who is standing outside, that's a lot of words. So the Mishnah says a 3-letter word, ani. Ani, a homeless guy, poor guy. Where does he usually stand? Out in the public street. He's in the street. Describing the man inside the house, he's a balabayis. It's very simple to say. Or, as Tosfos calls him, an usher. Okay, an usher. So, you could be standing in a private domain and take an object from the private domain and put it outside into the public domain. That's one way of doing it. And the Mishnah is also telling us a chiddush that you could be standing in the private domain, reach out into the public domain, lift up something and bring it into your house. That's also asur. So that's chiddush number one. With the be'inin akira v'hanacha, the Mishnah is describing the concept of uprooting, lifting something up, and then putting it down. Another halacha. Ushnayim sha'asua pturim. If two people do one melacha, they combine to do one melacha, they are potter. Potter means potter aval asur. Midrabanan will be asur. No way, are you here? Givaldik. Wow. I am. I can't wait until he leaves. I don't know his words, him or my chavrusa. Okay. Ari knows Shabbos inside out, backside, forwards, with the dafim. You ask him anywhere in Shabbos, he'll tell you what daf it's on. Another concept that a person's hand is considered like 4 by 4. Doesn't have halacha, not a rishus hayachid, not a rishus rabim. Fine. Now, jump three more Tosfos in. I want to show you a beautiful piece here in Tosfos. A lot of people discuss it. Very simple yesod, a beautiful yesod is kedai to come just for this, Ari. If you know this, but I want to describe it beautiful. Dibber maskil pasha balabayis yodai. 3 lines down. Venirillary. You have it. The itzrich lashmina meshum dahitza melacha gerua hi. Wow. Tosfos says that the isser of itzah is in an inferior melacha compared to all the melachas, the lamites melachas. What does that mean? It's beautiful. All the melachas, you're creating something. You're plowing your field because you're in the process of creating a bread. You're stitching something because you're creating your beggar, etc. The only melacha that doesn't really make sense, you're not creating anything, is itzah. What's the difference if I pick up my couch and I bring it from the first floor to the 25th floor on Shabbos, and that's 100% mutter? Or if I take my couch and I bring it outside 1 foot? Huh? Paper clip. A fire that doesn't even weigh anything. You're over on the fire. Right? We had that in brachas, a fire. You could be over on a fire. So that's a melacha grua, and that's what the Mishnah is coming to be mechadesh, and that it goes both ways, etc. Now let's see inside. Keitzad he'oni oimid bachutz u'balabayis bifnim. So the Mishnah starts off with hachnasa. Hachnasa is bringing something from rishus rabim into rishus hayachid. And the Gemara points that out. It's a very valid point because the Mishnah starts off Yitzios HaShabbos. How do you go out from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim? And then the Mishnah says the first example is Keitzad Ha'ani Yomi B'chutz U'Balabayis B'fnim Poshat Ha'ani Es Yodai Lifnim. The Ani has an object that he lifted up in Rishus HaRabim and he extends his hand into Rishus HaYachid and he put it into the hand of the balabayis, of the usher, as Tosfos calls him. What's the balabayis doing? Nothing. Zero. He's standing like this. The ani does everything. He lifts up, he does an akira. He goes into another domain, into Rishus HaYachid, and he places it down. He just did a ha'anocha. He did everything. So memela, the ani is over the whole isser. The balbayis is over 0. Rashi even uses a lashon, as we're going to see in the Mishnah, potel gamri, vafilu chatchilu mutter. He's allowed to stand there. We'll see tomorrow. Not so pashut. He might be over. Maybe in Isser of Shabbos, he didn't do anything. In the chatchilu, he could stand like that. But what about lifnei iver leisita michshal? He's helping the guy. Fine. Pasha de onis yadi lifnei v'nosan toich yadi shel bal habayis, oy shenotam mitoicha v'hoitzi, or if he went into Rishus HaYachid, and there's an object in Rishus HaYachid, and he lifted up the object in Rishus HaYachid, he did an akira in Rishus HaYachid. Now he's doing haitzah, not achnasa. He's removing an object from Rishus HaYachid and bringing it into Rishus HaRabim. Now he just did haitzah. He was in the same spot as he was before, but the object, instead of starting out in Rishus HaRabim, the object started off in Rishus HaYachid. So he did an akira nanacha, but he did akira from Rishus HaYachid and moved into Rishus HaRabim. Now, just I didn't print that other one. I had an artist that we were interviewing send me a picture, but okay. We have Rishus to use Rebaruch Chait's book. Not going to help that much. Maybe for this, it's very, very, very busy. I just chopped out one area of the picture. It's a beautiful picture. There's a lot of detail. Over here you have the Bal Habayis and the Ani. Here's the Rishus HaYachid. You see, he has walls. Here's the Rishus HaRabim, a giant thoroughfare, people walking and carrying and doing all sorts of Melachos. That's the thing. This guy, we didn't get to the case yet, but he's doing an akira in Rishus HaYachid and giving it over to Rishus HaRabim. That would be the Doiraisa, basically. That's what's mentioned in the Torah, and that's probably why it's in the picture here. That's the main one. He's lifting up the bread from Rishus HaYachid, from his backyard, and giving it to somebody, to the Ani, and the Ani's not doing anything, he's just standing like this. Fine. Now I want to show you this for a second, if I may. What? Yeah, there's a little Sefer Torah that shows the Doiraisa there. These are the cases of the Mishnah. We go over them real quickly. The yellow highlighted is the Doiraisa. And then we have 4 more cases. That each one of these cases involves 2 people. And the Mishnah describes a half of the case and not the other half. So the case we just mentioned, the 2 cases, is called Achnasa of the Ani. The Ani, he took an object from Rishus HaRabim. He did both the Akira and Hanacha, and he went into Rishus HaYachid. Second case is Haitzah of the Ani. The Ani takes an object from Rishus HaYachid and brings it into Rishus HaRabim. Then you have Haitzah the Bal Habayis. He lifts up an object in Rishus HaYachid, puts it in Rishus HaRabim. He did Akira and Hanacha. Or he extends his hand outside into Rishus HaRabim. That's case number 4. And he does Hachnasa. He brings something into Rishus HaRabim, into Rishus HaYachid, and he did an Akira and Hanacha. Case number 5 in the Mishnah is a combination of the Ani and the Bal Habayis. They both did half. They both did either an Akira and the other one did a Hanacha. How? It starts off with Achnasa of Ani. The Ani took something from Rishus HaRabim and put it into the hand of the Bal Habayis in Rishus HaRabim, and the Bal Habayis brought his hand back into Rishus HaYachid. So you have that the Ani did just an Akira, and the Bal Habayis did the Hanacha. Very similar case would be that if the Ani, and you have it over here, that the Bal Habayis, the first case is that the Ani lifted up the object in Rishus HaRabim and put his hand into the Rishus HaYachid. Yes, but in case number 8, he didn't put his hand. He lifted up the object. He didn't have to put his hand into the Rishus HaYachid. He just dumped it into the hand of the Bal Habayis, who he extended his hand into the Rishus HaRabim. It's almost the same thing. That Kira was in Rishus HaYachid. They're both in Rishus HaRabim. Just in one case, the Ani keeps on moving his hand into the Rishus HaYachid and then dumps it into the Bal Habayis. And in the second case, he dumps it into the Bal Habayis' hand in Rishus HaRabim.
For a Doraisa, you need 2 things by one person. You need Akira.
Yeah, but I'm saying more than that.
2 places. What's the example? How does it actually happen?
Nachamo.
So each one is sharing the rice?
There are 2 people shared their rice. Time out. Here. What happened over here? The Ani, listen to this, Mendy. The Ani lifted up the chayfetz, and then what did he do? What did he do? Tell me what he did. He lifted up, and then what? Where was the Hanacha? The Hanacha was inside in Rishus HaYachid.
The first case?
No, forget no. And the Bal Habayis did the Hanacha. The Bal Habayis took it out of his hand and put it down. There was an Akira, case number 5. The Akira was in Rosh Hashanah. The Ani picks it up, delivers it into Rosh Hashanah, he took it from Rosh Hashanah, puts it in the Rosh Hashanah, but it didn't do anything with it. It stayed in his hand. The first case is he dumped it in, now he's over on both Akira and Hanacha. This case, he just held it there, and the Balabayis did the Hanacha. He took it out of his hand and put it down in Rosh Hashanah.
So the difference is if he took it out of the Oni's hand, or the Oni put it into the Balabai's hand.
Exactly. If the Oni puts it in the Balabayis' hand, then he did it everything. This is just a shelf. The Balabais' hand in the first case is just a shelf. He didn't do anything. In case number 5, the Balabais took an active part and he took it out of his hand. But I'm saying even more than that. There's a case later that the Balabais took it out of the Oni's hand in the Rosh Hashanah. He went into Rosh Hashanah and grabbed it out. He got it, or the Oni put it into his hand and he put it into Bekitzer. Where the Bais didn't do Akira, he did Hanacha. Oh, let's keep on going. I don't want to confuse you. Case number 5 is that they shared the Isser. The Ani lifted it up, brought it into the Rosh Hashanah, but at that point the Balabais took over and took it out of his hand. So therefore it's Shnaim Shosu and the Potter. Case number 6. The Balabais lifted up the Chayfetz from Rosh Hashanah, brought it over to Rosh Hashanah, but it didn't do a Hanacha. The Ani took it out of his hand and did the Hanacha. But it was already Rosh Hashanah. To pick something up in Rosh Hashanah and put it down, you're not over anything. So 2 people did an Isser, and that's why they're Potter. Potter Midaraisa, Chayv Midarabanan.
What you're saying is there's an active person and a passive person. And there can be a case where both of them can be active.
Correct. In the beginning of the Mishnah, the four first cases of the Mishnah, there was one passive person. He literally acts as a shelf. And therefore, he's not Chayv at all. And the other guy that dumps it on the shelf is Chayv completely. Because what's the difference if he puts it on somebody's hand or he puts it on a shelf? Just because the guy's living doesn't make his hand not a shelf. But if the shelf suddenly grabs it and helps him out, it's not a shelf anymore. He did half of the Melacha, which is the Hanacha. So now it's a combination. You need, in order to be over Midarais, you have to do Akira and Hanacha. If you only did 50%, you lifted it up from Rosh Hashanah, even though you brought it over into Rosh Hashanah, but you never placed it down in Rosh Hashanah, you're not over. Who placed it down? The Ani guy took it out of your hand and placed it down. Now it's 2 people that did a Melacha. What? No, but by bringing a chayfetz into Rosh Hashanah and holding it there, let's say you never put it down, you're not over at all. Akira in Rosh Hashanah. In Rosh Hashanah. Where? What case? Okay, so you did an Akira in Rosh Hashanah and an Anach in Rosh Hashanah. That's mutter. You could do this all day long in your house. You could lift up a cup in your house and put it down in your house. It's not a halachic Akira. Akira means to take from one Rishus and do the Hanach in another Rishus. Yeah, technically he had to do an Akira in Rosh Hashanah. Fine, let's just continue. Oivei, 10 minutes. Fine, what do we have here? We said, Hoitzava Balabayis, but it's different than case number 6, because now the Balabayis does a lot more. He lifts up in Rosh Hashanah, and instead of placing it into the Ani's hand, he sticks his hand over the fence. He goes into Rosh Hashanah, and then from that moment, the Ani takes over. But he did the extension into Rosh Hashanah. Again, it's a combination of Balabayis and Ani. And finally, the final case is where the Ani does the Achnasa. In other words, he lifts up the object in Rosh Hashanah, and instead of waiting for the Balabayis to take it from him in Rosh Hashanah, he sticks his hand out into Rosh Hashanah. So he does 3/4 of it. Lifts up the object in Rosh Hashanah, brings his hand into Rosh Hashanah, and only at that point the Balabayis takes over. It's again Shnaim Shosu. Let's see inside. Oiker, Akira, okay. Who is the Oiker Harim? Rabba. Oishanata metoicha v'hoitzi ha'ani v'hoitzi ha'ani chayav u'balabayis potter. And that's what we said before, that he's potter, the balabayis is not chayiv in anything. L'chatchila says Rashi. But maybe you'll be chayiv on lifnei iver. Posha balabayis es yodoi lachutz. So now we continue with the oiraisis. The balabayis, the usher, is inside a Rishus HaYachid. Posha es yodoi lachutz v'nosan. In other words, he picked up something. He's doing Eitzah now. He picked up something in Rishus HaYachid, extended his hand over into the Rishus HaRabim, v'nosan l'toich yodoi shalani, and he deposited into the passive oni's hand. He did everything. He did an akira and he did an hanacha. Oy shenot al mitoicha v'hichnis, or he stuck his hand out the window into Rishus HaRabim, lifted up something from Rishus HaRabim, did an akira, brought it back to his Rishus HaYachid and put it down from his hand. Yeah, the oni's passive hand. He lifted it from the oni's passive hand. Again, no, he didn't do anything. He's just a shelf. He lifted it from his hand and put it down in Rishus HaYachid. He did both the akira and the hanacha. Balabayis chayav. The balabayis did both akira and hanacha. He's chayav. V'ani patur, and he's patur. Now, the Mishnah describes the other cases. The cases of the Rabbanon. Shnayim shein arba. 2 that make it 4. How do you get to 8 cases? Poshat ha'ani es yodei lifnim. The ani sticks his hand into the Rishus HaYachid. V'nota balabayis mitoicha. And then the balabayis makes a deposit into his hand. Who did the akira? The balabayis. Now the ani is going to take it and put it in Rishus HaRabim and place it down in Rishus HaRabim. Now the ani did the hanacha. It's 50-50. Oishinosan, or the balabayis put in litoicha v'haitzi shneim pturim. They're both patur. Why? Because it's 50-50. Posha balabayis is yodei lachutz v'not aloni mitoicha. If the balabayis, he stuck out his hand into Rishus HaRabim v'not aloni mitoicha, and the ani finished it off. He did the hanacha. Oishinosan litoicha, or the ani did the akira and put it into the balabayis' hand. V'hichnis, in the balabayis puts his hand back inside. Shneim pturim. Gishmak. It's not going to be like this the whole Masechta. Don't worry about it. What? This is that guy that Torah boy say. This is the easy part. All right.
It's unique, this whole concept of sharing Melacha, like anywhere in Melacha. Like if one guy buys, you got it.
Yeah, well, no, we have two people that killed somebody, 2 people that,
No, they don't. But they're both over in Isser. They don't share.
Yes and no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. In Shabbos definitely. Shnayim shasu pturim. But Potter, every time it's going to say Potter in the Masechta, it's going to say many, many times. Potter aval aser. You're not allowed to do it. Doesn't mean you're allowed to. It's not a heter to do anything. What? No, murder is different. Murder, different halacha. We're not going to get into it. But 10 minutes. All right, let's go. Not awesome. I'm saying it's discussed. The concept of 2 people murdering is discussed. There's a Mishnah in Shevuos, and the Gemara wants to ask, why is that Mishnah different than our Mishnah? So it's going to take us on a little bit of a journey. To Nan Hasam. By the way, I counted. This Amud only has less than 100 words, versus the last Amud in Brachas, or Samach Gimel and Beis, which has 750 words. We were flying, we were moving. Now we're going to take it slower, but deeper.
I feel like
Nan Hasam. What?
same amount of words.
Listen, the site is the same. When there's 3 minutes left, we're going to turn the page, some of the page, and we're going to start rushing.
It's ironic.
Nan Hasam.
It's ironic that he brought that up, because he did 2 Melachos. He went to a place, brought a person into the Gemara, set him up, said it's biyachad. He did something together. Akira v'anocha. To the guys.
Oh, very nice. Eliwat. And it's his birthday today. The tzaddik Rabbi Eliwat. Nan Hasam. Shevuos shtayim sheim arba. So we're talking about Shevuos, an oath. The Mishnah tells us similar things. Shnayim sheim arba, shnayim sheim arba, shnayim sheim arba. And of course, our Mishnah is going to appear in that Mishnah in Shevuos. If you take a Shevuah, it's shtayim sheim arba. Meaning, the Torah says the words lahara or lahetiv. In the future, you make a Shevuah, you take an oath, for good and for bad. What's for good and for bad? It's a mashal. It means you're not going to eat. That's really bad. Or good, you are going to eat. Doesn't mean bad and good. You're not going to get Gehenna for it. but you're going to refrain from doing something, or you're going to do something. You're forcing yourself to do something. You're going to be on a diet. Gemara calls that bad. Or you're going to eat a lot. You're going to go to the Siyum. I swear I'm going to go to the Siyum. Bli neder. That's toiv. So, but that's in the future. Because the pasuk says, lahara, laheitiv, in the future. What about the past? What about somebody that swore, I did not eat, or I did eat? That's in the past. That's shnayim, shehein, arba. Next. Yidis hatuma. Shnayim, shehein, arba. The Torah talks about a person who forgot that he is tamei and he ate kachim, or a person who's tamei and he forgot that he's tamei and he went into the Beis HaMikdash. Those are the two cases. He has to bring a carbon. What kind of carbon? Oile v'yored. Depends how wealthy he is. A bird, more expensive carbon. What are the other two? The other two is that he forgot that it's the Beis HaMikdash. It happens. Like people even today, they go on Har Bayis. They tell them it's very complicated. From this stone to this stone is asr. And they forget. They walk right through. That is a shikha. I'm not looking at you, Avi. That's a shikha of where the Beis HaMikdash is, versus what the Torah tells us, that you forgot that you're tamei. It's a shayik karv lemezid. It says harav whatever. Okay, fine. Yidis adon. I know your name, but I don't want to say lashon hara. Yidis adon shtayim shem arba. Oh, I forgot that this is kachim. Not that I forgot that I'm tamei. The first two cases, I forgot that I'm tamei, and therefore I ate something that I knew that is kachim, but I forgot that I was tamei. Over here, I know that I'm tamei. I just forgot that the piece of meat is from the Beis HaMikdash. That was once a carbon. I forgot that I'm stepping into the Beis HaMikdash. That's a whole different level. I see everybody with karbanos. I say, and I forgot I didn't have it's the Beis HaMikdash. To forget that you're tamei, that's what the Torah talks about. That's easier to understand. Now, next. Maris negoim shnayim shein arba. It's all to get to our case. That if a person has, the Torah talks about a se'es and a beheres. One is as white as snow. One is as white as wool. But the Torah also says sapachas. Sapachas means an additional one, an extra. What's the real word? Nispach, tafel. It's like added to it. Addendum. Okay, fine. What is that? A different color, like the Rashi brings the Gemara over there, like the lime of the wall of the house, or the kruma beitza, the what?
Membrane.
The membrane of the egg. Fine. It's a different color, but the Torah talks about two colors, and we're going to make them into four. Now comes our Mishnah. Yitzis Shabbos, shtayim sheim arba. Two that are four. What's missing? Our Mishnah had 8 cases. Over there, it's only 4 cases. Shnayim shein arba. What's going on? What's missing? Why is it missing? Over here, it elaborates. And we're done with it. Only 4 cases. Says the Gemara in a tem, Tachad the Ikir Shabbasu, Tani Avos, Tani Teilados, or Toldos. Okay, so now we're learning a new concept. All over Masechet Shabbos, we're going to have this concept of an Av and a Tolda. The primary Isser in the Torah, and the Tolda, the secondary. They could both be the Eraisis. Like in our case, you have the Yitzhak. The Yitzhak is going from Rosh HaYachid to Rosh HaRabim. That's what the Torah talks about. That's an Av. The Tolda is the reverse. From Rosh HaRabim to Rosh HaYachid, that's a Tolda. Is it awesome in the Raisa? Yes. But it's not in the Torah. That's a secondary one. By the way, walking Daled Amos with an object in your hand, Rosh HaRabim is also not in the Torah. It's Halacha Moshe Sinai. It's the Raisa. Tony Avis and Tony Toldos.
Does that make the deal with the fractional less than an Isser?
This is, by the way, because it's your birthday, you get a special exception. What's your question? I'm sorry.
Even a fraction less?
No. The rice is the rice. We don't start measuring the rice. So Memela, Hachadik Shabbasu, Tani Avos, Tani Toldos. So the over here the Mishnah is going to elaborate because we're in Masechet Shabbos. Hasam the lav Ikir Shabbasu. So, Aves Tani, Taldes Loi Tani. Right? So again, because Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah said, don't bring into my domain, and Moshe Rabbeinu is in the domain of Rosh Hashanah, he's in the Machne Leviim, and it's happening over there. So he's telling people, don't go from your house. You just finished making a beautiful Beggar for the Beis HaMikdash. Don't bring it from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Okay. But Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, the reverse is the same Isser. And we're discussing both. Says the Gemara, Avos Mainiu, Yitzios. We have to assume, at this point, that we're talking about Yitzios. Going from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. The Yitzios, Trei Havion. There's only two cases of a Yitziyah, meaning the Balabayis, a person in the Rosh Hashanah, taking an object and putting it in Rosh Hashanah. And what's the other case? A person in Rosh Hashanah pulling out a chayfetz from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Those are the two cases. Yitziyos Trei Havion. So how do you get to 4? How do you get to 8? How do you get to 4? Maybe, similar to like we explained in our Mishnah, some of the cases that are brought down are not usher. They're Rabbana ones. So that Mishnah over there that says 2 that are 4 really is talking about 2 cases that are Raisa, 2 cases that are your potter completely. Didn't really mean that there's 4 cases of an Isser. But that's very hard to understand, says the Gemara. To say that the Mishnah in Shevuos is talking about cases that are mutter. It comes right after all these cases of Shvuah and Maris Negayim. And look at Maris Negayim. A nega, a tzaras. You have a seis and a beheres. And we added to it isurim. We didn't add to it ptur. We said, and there's other colors that are also asur. Dimi the Maris Negayim katani. Ma hasam kulu l'chiyuva. Avachanami kulu l'chiyuva. What's the chiyuv of Maris Negayim if you have snow color on your hand? You're over Isser? If you go into Beis HaMikdash, you're over Isser, says Rashi. So if I have 2 colors that are 4 colors, and it looks like lime, and it looks like wool, and it looks like this, and I walk into Beis HaMikdash, all of them, I'm over Isser. So too, when it comes to Shabbos l'chayra, the Mishnah says 2 that are 4 should be Yisurim. Don't tell me 2 of them are Asr, and 2 of them, if you do it together with somebody else, it becomes mutter. Why would I tell you that in that Mishnah? Doesn't fit in. Hello, Amar Papa. Hacha, Dika Shabbasu, Tanachiyu V'Pturei. In our Mishnah that we're talking about Hilchas Shabbos, Tanachiyu V'Pturei, yes, it makes sense to talk about all the Chiyuvim, all the Pturim. Hasam Dika Shabbasu, Chiyuv V'Tani V'Pturei, like Tani. In fact, over there we're talking about Yitzias and Achnasas. So it's 4. It's going from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah and Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, and both. Over here, the reason why we have more cases is because over here we talk about also the cases that are completely potter, Shnaim Shasu, which are 4 cases. 4 cases of 2 people combining to make 1 Isser. Says the Gemara, Chiyuv Mainiu, what's the Chiyuv? Yitziyos. Yitziyos Tarti Haven. Yitziyos, I gave it away, but the Gemara asks, what are you talking about? There's only 2 that's going from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, not from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Says the Gemara, Shtaim Deitzah, Shtaim Da'achnasa. No, but we also have to count the 2 of going from Rosh Hashanah. Vayitzias Katani, the first word in the Mishnah, Yitzias is Shabbos, which is only from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Amar Avashi, Tano Achnasa Nami Oitzah Karila. Fine. You should know, and that's what Rashi said in the beginning of the Mishnah. When the Mishnah says Yitziyos, and the reason why the Mishnah even uses that word, Tosfos points out, is because it's brought down in the pasuk. Al Yetze, it's a lashon of Yitziyah. Okay, but our Tana uses the word of Eitzah either direction. Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Don't get technical with me. Yes, in the Torah, it's only from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. But when the Tana talks about Eitzah Shabbos, the Isser, it includes everything, even from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. And I have beautiful proof. Midisnan, in Daf Ayin Gimel, in the Mishnah over there, where it discusses all the Isurim of Shabbos, the Lamed Tes Melachos, in Perek Klal Gadol, it says, from from one domain to another. It doesn't talk about Rishus HaYachid, Rishus HaYachid. The Kamayim, Rishus HaRabim, Rishus HaYachid. It's referring to also Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid, because Kari L'Hitzah. And that's also called Hitzah. And the reason is, anytime you do an Akira, an Anacha, that's called Hitzah. All Akiras are Hitzahs. Anytime you lift something up, doesn't matter, even if it's Rishus HaRabim and Hitzah. I'll prove it to you from our Mishnah. It starts out with the word Yitzia, and what's the first example? Example of Achnasa. To teach us that Achnasa from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid is also called a Yitzia. Shma Mina, that's a beautiful raya. Rav Amar. The reason why it says Yitzia is Rishuyas Katani. We're referring to different domains. How many domains are there? 2. A Rishus HaYachid and Rishus HaRabim, that from that I have all these halachas. Rishuyas Katani. Rishuyas Shabbos, Shtayim. Over there it's referring to the 2 Rishuyas of Rishus HaYachid and Rishus HaRabim. Now just do halacha, quick halacha, based on today's daf. Yitzah is one of the 39 melachas that are also in Shabbos Minat Torah. What does it mean? It's to take an object from Rishus HaYachid to Rishus HaRabim, or the opposite, to bring in an object from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachid. The Melacha of Yitzah is also even if you don't change the object, and that's what Tosfos points out. This comes from the Tosfos. Melacha Grua, you didn't change anything. There's another type of Yitzah, and that's moving an object 4 amas in Rishus HaRabim. And that the Chazal say from the pasuk Shvu Ishtachtov. That in other words, everybody has a Shvisa Shabbos, everybody has their Makom, and that's 3 amas plus, which is the length of a person, 6 feet, and another amma in order to extend your hand. And since you have a person's Rishus is 4 amas, when you move more than 4 amas, that's as if you move the object out of your Rishus. Now, real quickly, we have another 20 seconds. There are 4 Rishuyos. You have Rishus HaYachid, private domain, Rishus HaRabim. Carmelis, we're going to see what that is. It's like a Rishus HaRabim, but it's not a Rishus HaRabim. Like a smaller street that doesn't have 16 amas. And a Makom P'tur. Sometimes the Isser is to go from one Rishus to another Rishus, which is the Raisa. Sometimes the Isser is only with the Rabbanon, and sometimes there's no Isser at all. And with that, we should have a wonderful day. See everybody tonight at 7:30 Ma'ariv tonight at Beis Tefillah. That guy with